English, I think. I can speak in Tamil and Chinese also. First of all, I would like to express my appreciation to Yuva Bharati and its convener, the MLA of this area, for this invitation on not only the book, to release the book of Tipu Sultan, but also to place in perspective what this book would mean in part of the regeneration of this country, which could be possible after the next elections. The author, Sandeep Balakrishna, is a multifaceted personality. He also is the CEO of a website which is widely known for India Facts. And he has tried to bring in the real facts about the tenure of Tipu Sultan and how it is different from what is being projected as Tipu Sultan the Tiger. I think Tiger should now file a defamation case because we had Prabhakaran of the LTT also called the Tiger, liberation tigers of Tamil Nadu, and they all had to die like rats in Sri Lanka. And the word tiger is totally misused. What I think is to be recognized is why this book is important is that in our nation building, which should be of great importance after 2014, I am 100% certain that there will be an absolute majority BJP government with Narendra Modi as the Prime Minister. We need a Indian mindset. An Indian mindset which draws its inspiration from the civilization of India. There have been 46 civilizations in history, recorded in history. 45 have disappeared. There is the Greek Revolution as a civilization, or the Egyptian civilization, or the Mesopotamian civilization, the Babylonian civilization, the Zoroastrian civilization of Iran. All these have disappeared. But the Hindu civilization is the only surviving and continuing civilization today in the history of the world. And the people of this country and the Hindus of this country have staunchly fought to protect it against the most brutal leadership that was provided by invaders in this country. When I was teaching at Harvard, I had a Saudi Arabian student who once asked me whether he could meet me after class. And when I met him after class, he said that his university in Saudi Arabia, the scholars there were working on a project on India. And they wanted me to answer a question which was puzzling them. So I said, what's the question? He said, why is India still 80% Hindu? So I was a bit surprised by this question. I said, I don't understand the meaning of it. So he said, you see, we are studying Islamic history. We find that the Islam conquered Iran and from the Zoroastrians and established a kingdom, and in 15 years we were able to convert Iran into 100% Muslim country. In the neighboring countries of Mesopotamia and Iraq, which we later amalgamated in Mesopotamia and Babylon, which we later integrated as Iraq. In 17 years, we converted that country after capture to 100% Muslim. Egypt also we converted in 21 years, destroyed the Pharaoh civilization and established Islamic civilization. The Christians conquered Europe, and in 50 years they were able to convert the whole of Europe to Christianity. But India, 800 years of rule of Muslims and 200 years of rule of the Christians to the British, and you're still 80%, we want to know what the secret is. The secret is that throughout India, the fight never ceased. You're in Mysore, the great state of Karnataka produced this great empire called the Vijayanagara Empire. It was founded by the Shringeri Shankaracharya by reconverting two boys who had been forcibly converted to Islam, and founded this empire, which went to the borders of Bengal. It covered more land under its control, it brought more land under its control than the Mughal Empire ever did. It lasted 300 years. The core Mughal rule from Akbar to Aurangzeb is only 150 years and had controlled much less land. And yet you open the history book, you find one chapter for each Mughal emperor, but only one paragraph for Vijayanagara Empire, where they say there was a civil empire, Vijayanagara Empire in South India, which lasted, which brought about Hindu Renaissance in parts of India. Now, if you in North India were to ask anybody, I think probably true even in South India, that do you know about Vijayanagara Empire? They will not know. So, what is the impact of this kind of teaching of history? It creates a mindset that we were losers, anybody came from abroad, conquered us, ruled us, which is what is being propagated. And what we have to show is, whether it's the Vijayanagara Empire, whether it's Rana Pratap. Rana Pratap was the Rana of Udaipur. He was defeated by Akbar. So he had to go and hide in the forest, with nothing in the To sustain himself, he had to prepare food. And what he did was, he dried grass and then converted it to paste and made it into chapati, and with that he was surviving. His cousin was Mansingh in Jaipur. One day he came to see him and he said, Rana Pratap, why are you living this existence? Look at me, I'm living in a palace with all the pleasures that a king can have. And what is it that I have given away? I have accepted Akbar as the Badshah of India. And I have a message for you from Akbar. Accept him as the Badshah of India, he will return all your palace, Udaipur, everything. So Rana Pratap said, no, I will not accept him as the Badshah of India. He's a foreign conqueror, I will not accept him. So his Mansingh said, then what, you're going to spend the rest of your life eating chapatis made out of grass? What will you get out of it? So Rana Pratap replies, what I get out of it is that future generations of mothers will name their sons after me, but on your name they'll spit, that's enough for me. And we stuck to it. We worship whoever showed courage and fought. Rana Pratap lost, but we worship him. Shivaji won, we also worship him. Rani Jhansi lost, we worship him. In Karnataka, Rani Chennamma, she lost, but you all adore her. In Tamil Nadu, Kattabomman was hanged by the British on the street corners of Tirunelveli. But the Tamils remember him. And not all those who compromised with the British. It's all over India. Even later on in Subhash Chandra Bose, he did not lead you to freedom. But we revere him. Because essentially, those who fought injustice, we remember in this country. So I'd like a mindset to be developed that here is a country which never submitted to the foreigner. Even today, we are not submitting to the foreigner. So, why I say mindset is important is, let me tell you that we are 120 million people or something like 1 billion, 20 million people. This is not enough. You can have in a forest 100 or 1,000 goats at one place, and one lion comes in. The majority is with the goats, but they will all run. And that one lion will go and have his lunch made out of one of them. That is the mindset. The goats will not be able to plan to surround the lion and kick him with their hoofs till he's dead. Numbers don't matter unless you have a mindset. Even strength doesn't matter if you have a mindset. You go and see a circus, you will see a cage, there will be 5 big, well-fed lions inside it, and one thin ringmaster will come to inside the cage, lock the door, and then he'll crack the whip and say, climb up. All these lions will climb up on the bench. Then he will say, sit down, they'll all sit down. Then he says, open your mouth. They'll all open his mouth. And he'll put his head in each one of those lions' mouth. Question is, why don't the lions beat him up, they cut him up, eat him up? Because the lion is brought up from the time it's a cub to obey. So even though he's become big and strong, well-fed, it obeys a thin, wiry ringmaster. In Sanskrit, we call a lion a Singh. And today, when people ask me, why doesn't Manmohan Singh take a stand? I tell them he's a circus Singh, he's not a genuine Singh. Because he has come up that way. I've known him for long years. He's my very good friend. I know that he's not capable of taking a stand. Because that's why he has come up. From day one, he, in fact, when I was minister, I brought him back. He had migrated to Geneva. I brought him back as the economic advisor to the government of Chandrasekhar. And then Narasimha Rao made him finance minister. Very good man, very upright man, all that. But no guts, no spine. And this ringmaster from Italy can make him dance. Although she is 5th class pass and he's a PhD, still he listens to her. I'm not sure if he passed 5th class, but I know. So, today, the mindset is important. And in this mindset, we have to create many different aspects, many different dimensions. Today we have problems of all kinds. Why is this nation corrupt because we lack the mindset to perpetuate. Politicians, by just picking up a telephone, can get enough money. But today the greed has taken over in such a big way that you find politicians have money just staggering. When they have billions of dollars. I don't think that any of the senior cabinet ministers of the UPA government, any of them have got less than 15,000 crores. And all Indians put together who have illegal bank accounts abroad, the total is 120 lakh crore rupees. Do you know the tax bill, income tax bill in the parliament, in the budget passed by parliament? The total revenue from income tax is only 2 lakh crores. And how much is abroad? 120 lakh crores. Can you bring it back? Of course you can bring it back. Just needs one ordinance. Thanks to the Americans passing a resolution in the United Nations on terrorist financing, it's possible for any government today to take out an ordinance saying that all bank accounts abroad in these safe havens, there are about 70 countries which are safe havens, all bank accounts of Indians are hereby nationalized. And if any can prove that the account has been legally opened and the money put in is legal, we'll return that bank account. The rest is Indian property. You can get all that money. 120 lakh crores. You don't need even a central budget after that. Not only that, we have in our country, we can generate resources by auctioning natural resources. This 2G spectrum, had you auctioned the licenses at that time, you would have got an extra minimum, according to CAG, in my opinion it's more, 1,76,000 crores. Now the trial is going on. I am 100% certain that Raja and his associate Kanniguri will go to jail. But there are many still to go to jail. Some of them are slipping out of my fingers each time, but I have not given up. I'll catch them some other way. One of them is Chidambaram, supposed to be the finance minister. Because he is a lawyer and a crook, that's a dangerous combination. So he can find ways to slip, but he won't slip very long. So, 1,76,000 crores by just auctioning 2G. Auction 3G, 4G, they're all coming. Most people don't know what this is. What is this? 1G, 2G, 3G. If you have a cordless phone, it is 1G. Because all you can do is pick up the phone and dial, the other side the phone will ring without a wire. It goes through the sky, the wave. And that is called 1G. Then 2G came, you could send SMS, you can send email, you can even send pictures. G stands for generation. Then 3G, you can send videos. You pick up a phone, call the other person as 3G also, you can see each other and talk. Which is now coming useful for our army people wanting to talk to their wives. Then 4G, which is coming, 10,000 pages of documents you can send from your mobile phone. That's the fourth generation. I once jokingly asked Manmohan Singh, do you know what 2G is? He said, yes, Sonia ji and Rahul ji. I said, no, on telecom. He said, I don't need to know anything else. This is enough. That's true. So therefore, 2G, 3G, 4G, auction it, you will get several multiples of the tax bill, tax revenue through auction. Coal, if you auction coal, you will get 11 lakh crore rupees, the one that they gave away. If you had auctioned it, you would have got 11 lakh crores. This Krishna Godavari, which you gave away almost free to the Ambanis, had you auctioned it, you would have got 24 lakh crore rupees. Even thorium today is in big demand because uranium will be over in 2050. And India has got on the coasts of Tamil Nadu and a little in the coast of Kerala, huge amounts of thorium in the sand. And who brings that sand with thorium? Ramasetu brings that sand. Because the waves hit Ramasetu and then the waves move sideways to the coast of India and deposit this Ramasetu, this monazite containing thorium. If you cut Ramasetu, then that will go straight to the Indian Ocean where the American island of Diego Garcia is. You lose all that. 60% of the world's thorium is in India. 60%. God has been very kind to us. In all these natural aspects, supposing you have got 60% of the thorium, now the whole world is wanting thorium. This sand smuggling is going on in Tamil Nadu. Fortunately, the Supreme Court has stopped it now. If you were to take this, not all, you can't have all 60, all right, take a portion of it and auction it, you will get 48 lakh crores. There is no shortage of resources in the country. Plenty of resources. In fact, I would advocate very strongly, and now I've been made the chairman of the Economic Policy Projection Committee, or the Vision Committee of the BJP, to draw up plans. Under the overall Vision Committee chairman is Nitin Gadkari. And for this subcommittee, I'm preparing a plan how we can have a budget after abolishing income tax completely. No one should pay income tax. How much do I lose? 2 lakh crores. So I'm getting little ambitious. I'm saying, all right, also corporate tax should be abolished. Income tax, who pays? Do you think the rich pay income tax? They got chartered accountants to fudge the accounts, so no problem. And bribe the income tax officers. The poor don't have enough income to pay income tax. It is the middle class, the young professional class who have to pay income tax. And they don't mind paying income tax if this harassment was not there. So abolish it. And we can get resources by alternative means. And I know our middle class, they are not going to go and squander the money in the market. They are going to put it in savings accounts, investment accounts. Investment will go up, investment goes up, growth rate will go up, growth rate goes up, then through indirect taxes you will get revenue, extra revenue. And that will be more than 2 lakh crores. Don't even have to auction resources. In fact, in my opinion, even excise tax should be simplified. If you rank commodities by contribution to revenue, find the top 21 contributors give you 92% of the excise revenues. And the remaining 3,000 give you only the remaining 8%. So therefore, just have excise tax on the 21 and one flat rate, not all these gradations and all that. So there are a number of ways in which this economy can be turned around. But we have to consider, there is no economic problem in India. India can be turned around if you do the right thing. 1947, if Jawaharlal Nehru had not gone for the Soviet economic model, India would have been a developed country by now. During the Soviet model period of 1950 to 1990, 40 years, our growth rate was only 3.5% per year in GDP, which people used to sneeringly call the Hindu rate of growth. It was not the Hindu rate of growth, it was the Soviet rate of growth. In 1990, Chandrasekhar government came, I started preparing the blueprints for economic reform. The government fell, Narasimha Rao's government came. He invited me to be part of his cabinet, but on condition I joined Congress. I refused to join Congress. So he said, okay, I'll create a commission for WTO affairs and give you a cabinet rank so you can attend cabinet meetings. And the blueprint was provided me by Narasimha Rao, to Narasimha Rao, who got it implemented. But because Mrs. Sonia Gandhi didn't like him, you know why she didn't like him? Because she thought originally, after Rajiv Gandhi's assassination, that the country will rise in sympathy and give Congress a majority, and she was planning to become Prime Minister then. And nobody could have stopped it. I got her stopped in 2004 because by then I got records to show that she was also an Italian citizen. And I must give credit to our President, Mr. Abdul Kalam, who's under heavy threat since then, that he stopped her. He explained to her that there will be a scandal. And she could not become. Of course, the media made it out of great sacrifice and all that. What do you mean by sacrifice? When I went to see Abdul Kalam, I saw on one of his side tables 350 letters written by individual MPs. I read them. And not all of them, I saw what some of what the letters were saying, all on a standard format. I, so-and-so, elected from so-and-so place, hereby propose Ms. Sonia Gandhi for the Prime Ministership of India. And I was surprised to see in the UP list a letter from an MP from Rai Bareli, Ms. Sonia Gandhi herself writing, I, Sonia Gandhi, hereby propose Ms. Sonia Gandhi for Prime Minister of India. How can you say you didn't want to be Prime Minister? So anyway, I'm going back to this question that our system will never be allowed, the constitutional system is such that we will be able to prevent anyone who is not a citizen of India to become Prime Minister of India. What I would say is that the most important thing today in the country is the mindset of the Indian. He must first become optimistic. He's so pessimistic today. And I've seen this all over. When I was fighting the emergency, people say, when will you go? I say, I don't know. So why are you fighting? Because I have to fight. I am by nature a fighter, so I have to fight. How did I know that Mrs. Gandhi will declare an election and lose that election? Would anyone would have believed me if I in the emergency say that Mrs. Gandhi is going to declare an election and she will lose that election? Nobody would have believed. But that's exactly what happened. Could anyone have believed that this Hindu rate of growth of 3.5% can go up to 8%, 9%? Today I am telling you that under the leadership of Mr. Narendra Modi, you will get 12% per year for 10 years and become a developed country. He has shown it in Gujarat. And I, as an economist, have studied his record. It's his decisiveness, he's making decisions. He has transformed the whole of Kutch, which was just nothing but sand, barren land, Kutch and Saurat, by insisting on the Sardar Sarovar Dam, is now a green place which is now producing crops which is being exported out of Gujarat. There is no power cut in Gujarat. If you can do it in Gujarat, why can't you do it in India, rest of India? So therefore, the issue is that if you adopted the right model, Jawaharlal Nehru adopted the Soviet model, Soviet model didn't work in India. Soviet model didn't even work in the Soviet Union. EMS Namboodiripad used to say in the Soviet Union there is no unemployment. He used to tell me all the time. There is no unemployment in Soviet Union. There is no poverty in Soviet Union. There is no inflation in Soviet Union. And finally in August 1991 I told him, Mr. Namboodiripad, there is no Soviet Union also. Broken into 16 countries. So we have to have a market economy, no question. But that market economy must be regulated. There must be a strong umpire, which is the government. And we have to see that our resources are efficiently used. Today we find, even though Narasimha Rao's period we did some deregulation, even today our resources are being squandered for money. Recently I have gone to the Supreme Court on an agreement between Jet Air and Etihad. There are long Jet Airways, Etihad, so I have shortened it to say Jihad. JE from Jet and HAD from Etihad. Now, what is it involved? It involves the entire airspace to be allocated to Etihad, which means that Etihad will not fly directly out of India to the United States. They will go via Abu Dhabi. And they will be able to come to every city of India. Madras, Calcutta, Nagpur, Bombay. We can't go to every city of UAE because UAE is so small that once you land in Abu Dhabi and you want to go to Dubai, you have to go by bus. You can't go by a plane. So India gets no advantage. This entire airspace is being given. Spectrum, same thing. We gave it at 1/10 the price, and each of these companies sold it for 10 to 15 times the price to foreign companies. So we today will have to devise a way, not only for pricing the resources, but see what our strength is. What is our strength today? Our strength is, number one, our young population. Thanks to the people of India who refuse to be browbeaten into controlling their family artificially, our birth rates are coming down, but slowly coming down. We need, of course, to make it more uniformly for all communities, but fact is it is coming down. But in the emergency 75, 77, Mrs. Indira Gandhi and Sanjay Gandhi tried to force it because the whole world was appreciating the way China is having one child per family. Today China is weeping because the average age of the Chinese today has risen to 37 years. India's the average age is only 26. 70% of the population is below 35. It's a young population. Educate this in the young population with the help of all this digital technology that has come in education, and give everybody a good education and the ability to invent, to innovate. Our new government should focus on how to become independent of oil. Can it be done? Of course it can be done. Instead of automobiles using petrol, they should use hydrogen fuel cells. Has the research been done? Yes. In fact,